Don't overthink. Don't overthink. One more time. Don't overthink. You got the W.
It's hot out there, but let's blow it off the line of scrimmage. Come on, okay.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the November 18th, 2024 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions, call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Benched, the app. If you're taking goose eggs, if you're getting losses in your fantasy season because you left a non-starting player in your starting lineup, download Bench the app today. Make that a thing of the past and dominate your fantasy season. All right, we are here. We are here. Hey, let me know. I got a little sound issue here. Tell me if you hear me okay. I think we're coming through all right, but let me know if you're hearing anything different and I can make an adjustment. So before we get into everything else, there's a lot to talk about and unpack about the Ram game. First time in like 500 episodes I use the word unpack. I never say unpack. Anyway. Everyone's complaining about Josh Carty today and missing the bigger plot of this whole thing. Carty doinked a chip shot yesterday. Yeah. And he missed a 57-yarder last week after drilling a 52-yarder before it got wiped out on Limmer's false start, right? He's missed 4 field goals this year. 4 field goals, 2 extra points. All right? Remember what last year was? Right? Does he look anything like Brent Maher, Lucas Haversick, or even Sam Sloman? Does he look anything like that? To me, when I'm looking at Carty and I'm hearing all the yakking about Carty, it's classic Munchausen. It is total Munchausen syndrome. We can't find a problem, so I'm going to complain and I'm going to create a problem. Bigger deals here. We got a bigger issue with the cornerbacks right now who look like they're aging by the week rather than your kicker, all right? And if McVay's got a problem with Josh Carty, then I'm going to say it. I'm not a fanboy. We can speak the truth here. Now, we're going to have the person, the horns up crowd's going to come out and say, well, what do you know, man? Sean McVay. That's why we have programs like this, right? And we don't just go along like proles, just bowing our head and going along and everything. We see, if you watch football, you folks out there probably know more than most guys like me doing podcasts, right? A lot of folks behind the mic these days are pretty lazy folk. They don't do the work. There's some out there, and that's why they're at the top of the heap, that do the work. So if McVay's got a problem, it's his problem with Carty, because you only get Matt Gay once, right? How often are you going to find a Matt Gay, right? I didn't even mind the punt at the end. If that's what McVay was thinking, I can't trust Joshua Carty, whatever. But I didn't mind that punt. I like that punt because he wanted New England to go 90 instead of 50. He wanted to give his defense a chance to make a play. And that's suddenly what we're seeing with this defense now on the other side of the bye week, right? So why give New England 50 yards to go? Make them go 90, because anything can go wrong on a kick. And I don't think it was a shot at Josh Carty. I think it was more like, I have a defense that makes plays now. And let me share this with you about making plays. I'm getting ahead of the game here. I'm scrolling down and looking at some of the stuff, the work I've done here. Since the bye week, right? The defense has 18 sacks. 18 sacks in the last 5 games, right? 18 sacks in the last 5 games this defense has gotten. Also, we've seen 7 interceptions between a 3rd-round pick, Cam Kitchens, who lost his spot on the field earlier this year. We've seen 3 by him and 4 by an undrafted free agent, Jalen McCullough out of Tennessee. Rams got 7 picks. And what we're seeing is we're seeing plays, right? We're seeing tackles and fumbles, right? We're seeing sacks and fumbles. We're seeing things happen. And again, maybe McVay's got a problem with Josh Carty. Okay, maybe he does. I don't. I'm not as worried about Carty right now. I'm not saying you could say he's not Justin Tucker, but thank God he's not Justin Tucker right now, who, by the way, has missed 6 field goals this year. And it was absolutely painful to watch him yesterday. But I think McVay was again saying, if that offense has to go 90 yards against my defense, I like my defense's chances of making plays because we're practically on top of the league, at least in getting pressure on everybody. We talked about this at the beginning of the year, that at first they weren't getting home and they weren't finishing. Now they're finishing, and these quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball, and we're seeing the defense make plays. And so, no, let's let go of this fact that Josh Carty's the problem and everyone's lost faith in him. You may have, I haven't. McVay may have, but McVay would be wrong. McVay would be wrong to lose faith in Josh Carty at this point, not after what we went through last season. Last season was like living through Dawn of the Dead with our kickers, right? Just relax. Let Carty have a day like Justin Tucker had yesterday, and then we'll talk, okay? And then we'll talk. If that was the reason also that McVay didn't look happy at the end of the game, he didn't look thrilled, he is overthinking things. And I think as Ram fans, we're overthinking things sometimes. And in speaking of overthinking, I think going to Nakua, and perhaps it was Stafford's choice on that 3rd and 7 on their final drive. I think that was overthinking. I would have pounded the ball. If it was in his mind, what if you gave the ball to Kyron Williams and Kyron Williams gained 4 yards? Now it's a 48-yard field goal. If you had gained another 4 yards, you burn some more time off the clock. Maybe they have to use another timeout. Maybe they don't want to, right? There was just so many other things you could have done there. Maybe it was Stafford's choice, and you give Stafford that leeway. My goodness, he was on fire yesterday. But yeah, I was, when they went up the line to Nakua, I was thinking more of an intermediate route like they did on the previous conversion to move the chains. But anyway, up 28-13 yesterday, the game turned on Jared versus brain dead ball foul, right? Grabbing the player, pulling him off the pile, even though he was standing up. Was it a weak flag? It was an absolutely weak flag. You didn't have to throw it, but Verse should have known better. He's a rookie. He makes those things. That's what we love about him. But the defense ended up giving up 22 points yesterday. But I'm going to take 6 points off the board and just put it squarely on Jared Verse, shove it in his locker. And this defense only gave up really 16 yesterday, right? And then the other aspect of it too that was a little bit of an eye opener for us. It's very clear the Patriots have found their quarterback, right? Drake May. I never saw Drake May play well at North Carolina. I saw his highlight films. He looked great in the highlight films. We know what highlight films are. But every time I tuned in a game to watch Drake May, I didn't think he looked good. I didn't think he looked good at all. But you know what? He looked great yesterday. And he saved their offensive line a lot of misery because there were other moments the Rams were getting pressure that would have been a disaster, but he got rid of that ball pretty quick. That dude gets a legit receiver or two, boom, the Patriots are going to be in great shape if they don't screw it up, right? If they don't screw it up. And then here's the other one. Here's the plot that I think is lost, and maybe I'm making too much out of it. Man, this is not Georgia's Rams, right? This is not Georgia's Rams. I don't even think this is Carol Rosenblum's Rams. This was just amazing. All last week I said, man, we're going to see Jonah Jackson again. We're going to see him again. You can't pay this guy that much money and then make a decision when he's healthy and yank him for a 6th-round pick, who was fair at center. He's not Creed Humphrey, right? He's not even Rick Saw, Doug Smith, or Ken Iman yet. But give the Rams credit. I mean, when I watched the game on delay because I had to work in the morning, and I came in and I saw Limmer out there, my mouth just dropped. I was like, wow, this is a team. If you don't think, I know we want to see the big moves, the big trades. We love those big moves. Bring in Von Miller, sign OBJ, make the move. We love the big moves that they make. They're very bold. But here's a move they're saying, we might have whiffed on this. 3 years, 51 rocks, and we're going to bench this cat because winning is more important to us. This is the golden age of Rams football. Looking at that, and then, well, we'll talk about the offensive line in a second. But Jonah Jackson's making 13.6 this year. Next year, 18.9. And the year after that, he's scheduled to make 18.4. If he's released before June of next year, the Rams will have 11.3 in dead cap space. So they're going to put, he's going to eat 11.3 of dead cap money. That's huge. That's huge. Jonah Jackson's going to stay on this team unless there's just some crazy thing here. Jonah Jackson's going to be on this team. And yet the Rams said, no, sorry. We're going with the 6th round pick, who, by the way, is wearing number 50 and, is channeling some Ken Iman there, right? He's channeling some Ken Iman. Ken Iman, who we talked about last week, became the Rams starting center in 1965 and started every game. 140 consecutive games from 1965 through 1974. If we can get 10 years out of Bo Limmer, yeah, and he looked pretty good yesterday. The offensive line looked pretty good yesterday. Stafford's been sacked 5 times since coming back from the bye. 3 times he's played since then. He hasn't been sacked at all. He was sacked once by the Raiders, and 4 of those sacks came against the Dolphins, and that was with Joe Noteboom at right tackle, Jonah Jackson at center, and recently returned as well, Steve Avila, who was graded out decently that game against Miami, but he didn't look decent to me at all. And that was after the Rams had played so well with Justin Diedick at left guard and Bo Limmer at center. Well, Limmer comes back, and oh, by the way, that 3rd string right tackle that can't play left tackle, but we know he can play right tackle, Warren McClendon, was ice yesterday. I mean, now, we're going to keep everything in perspective. Their PFF grades for Alaric Jackson, Steve Avila, Bo Limmer, Kevin Dotson, Warren McClendon, their PFF grades were all great, right? Let's remember this. They were going against the Patriots, who don't have a pass rush. Neither did the Dolphins. Dolphins didn't have a pass rush either, but Joe Noteboom and Jonah Jackson, even Avila and even Dotson, they were all so bad last week that they made the Dolphins look like they had a pass rush. So you can take it 2 ways. It's like they did what they should have done against a team that has no pass rush, and they did really well. And if we got to dance another week, I'd say, hey, let's make sure the Havenstein monster is healthy and make sure he's ready to go, because I think Warren McClendon settles this place down at right tackle until Havenstein comes back. All right. Alaric Jackson is playing like he wants to eat big time money. And at this point, do I want to go out and look for another left tackle if I think I got Alaric Jackson, who's still very young? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm ready to give money to Alaric Jackson. Avila was much better this week than he was last week. I don't care what PFF says. And Bo Limmer looks like he, according to PFF, played his best game. So, and Limmer just seems to settle things down. Also, the running game was better this week. There was a lot of good stuff there. Given time to throw, now that the Rams are 5-5, you can look at that. But given time to throw, Matthew Stafford makes anything possible, right? An upright Matthew Stafford makes anything possible. And especially if you got Nakua and Kupp out there. And look at Nakua and Kupp. There's not one guy that's sub 4.4 there. And they could just dominate, right? They can just absolutely dominate. And that's nice going forward. The Patriots secondary was okay. Going in, it was a middle-of-the-road secondary, Christian Gonzalez and those guys. And that's good news. Going into Philly, or Philly coming to LA next week, I imagine they're watching film and they're saying, hey, we got to deal with Nakua and Kupp. And I think there could be opportunity again for D-Rob, because teams are going to adjust. I stopped eating my lunch for a few minutes until I saw Nakua was okay after that great catch. I haven't seen a great catch like that with Puka Nacua since I was a kid, and we used to play for diving for catches in the living room. I don't know if you ever played this. We would race down the hall, and then there was our couch, and we would dive over the couch, and my brother, our neighbor, we would throw the ball from across the room at the edge of the couch, and we dive. We played diving for catches in the living room. And yeah, I think I looked a lot like Puka Nacua yesterday. He looked pretty fantastic. A lot of 12 personnel yesterday. Atwell, Johnson, Tyler Johnson, Jordan Whittington, and Xavier Smith combined for 22 snaps. Atwell had a nice 20-yard catch, though. I think it was 22 yards. I think he's got a nice little rapport with Stafford, but how do you see the field, right? But that was only 22 snaps. Nacua played only 39 snaps, Cup 37, a lot of 12 personnel. Davis Allen, 34 snaps. Parkinson played 19 and Long played 18. Nice catch by Parkinson in the back of the end zone there. Happy for him. So, there's a lot of stuff to get excited about. And we're going to talk a little bit more. We could talk about more about the defensive shortcomings and what they got to work on. But it was a win the Rams had to get. It should have been more of a layup. Rams should have been off the field before the Jared Verse play. The Jared Verse play upset me more than the Byron Young face mask. That was 30 yards on that drive that contributed to that touchdown. And people are complaining about the refs in the NFL. And you know what? It's time. Someone's got to do something about arbitrary. There is no definitive what illegal contact is anymore, right? Just say don't touch. Flat out, just come out and say don't touch. And then we'll have an understanding of it because it's never consistent. It's pretty weak. All right. Hey, guys, let's take a look at some of the questions that have rolled in. Oh, Mr. Burns is at work. All right. Defense is getting INTs and sacks. Kitchens has adjusted maybe. I think, and Fisk was a beast. And thank you for telling me my sound is good. Yeah, I think what's happening is what we're seeing is because of the pressure, these guys are getting home. Right. And we're seeing Bobby Brown elevate. Bobby Brown, hey, right? Let's give some credit to Bobby Brown. He is working and he's playing hard. And right now, if we can keep this Bobby Brown, I want that guy to get a second contract. I don't know how it's going to work out, but Bobby Brown's balling. And because Bobby Brown is balling, have you noticed Kobe Turner the last few weeks? Kobe Turner's been amazing. Braden Fisk has been amazing. Byron Young still has some problems holding the edge. He struggles a little bit there, but he goes after the quarterback, right? And then you've got, of course, Jared Verse. This is a special defense, and now we're watching the Rams make plays on defense. That was the frustrating part last year. It's like, I believe a pass can get picked now, right? The last couple of years, it was like, can they get a pick, right? Can they get a turnover? And we're seeing it happen. All right. Cardi has an attention issue, almost bored, not worried yet. I'm not worried about Cardi either, Mr. Burns. Manuel Vasquez. Thank you, Manuel. Cardi is the least of our problems right now. He's a rookie going to make mistakes from time to time. Hey, thank you for seeing that, guys. I was wondering if people were going to jump all over me for that take because, if someone else says it, or even McVay might think it, and no one really knows for sure. He's talking about trouble with the operation, the whole snap hold and everything, and stuff. But I looked at it as I don't care what McVay thinks necessarily. He's overthinking if that's what he's doing. And then the other aspect of it is, make Drake May, even though he's played really well, make him go 90 yards against my defense and see if it can make plays. And our defense did make plays. And sure enough, pressure got there and Kitchens got the pick. Yeah, I agree with you, Manuel Vasquez. Tim Burns, looking at Arizona's and our schedule, them going 3-4 and us at least going 4-3 isn't likely. I guarantee it. Oh, okay. So obviously you're giving up the next 7 games for the Rams. Imagine you're giving away games against the Bills and the Eagles. Who else are you giving a game away against, Mr. Burns? Let me know. Yeah, Tim Burns. Taylor Rapp got Mahomes' interception. Nice. Tim, I saw that. Tim Burns, Cardi has hit the upright 3 times, I think. He is fine. Yeah, it's not coming in gross bunches, so I think we're okay. All right, guys, if you have any other questions, throw them to me. We'll get to them as we go through the show. Around the NFL and other places, just hitting on a few things here. Boy, Boy, does Jamar Chase seem like he's done in Cincy when you hear his comments after the game last night? And they didn't sign him. So that guy is setting up for a fat contract. I don't know what his blocking skills are, but do you ever wonder? Now, I know it's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. But would Jamar Chase ever end up in LA, right? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? I tell you where he can end up. If I'm Jamar Chase, where I'd want to go, maybe LA. I don't know if the Rams would have room for him or the big Mamu, but if the Spanoses have really turned over a new leaf, could you imagine Jamar Chase playing with this Chargers offense? Hello, right? Yeah. Looking around, looking at that Chiefs Bills game, I loved watching that game. It was a good game. I was glad it was in the later window, just because that's a game that deserves national attention, just like the Steelers Ravens did yesterday. I am going to watch Monday Night Football. And if you guys want to watch Monday Night Football, that's okay. Texans Dallas doesn't interest me. How bad Dallas loses, I'll watch it on replay or watch it delayed. But Josh Allen, man, you could put that dude in a Marvel movie and no one would doubt that he's a superhero. That touchdown run was great, right? Of course, it would be another Marvel movie, but Josh Allen, man, he's great to watch. He is great to watch. Lions lost Alex Anzalone, their linebacker, broken forearm. He's on the IR right now, along with Aiden Hutchinson. So those little things mounting for Detroit, making them a little more vulnerable down the stretch, maybe when the Rams play them in the NFC title game. Daniel Jones benched in New York for Tommy DeVito. Big moves there because they paid him a lot. I mentioned in my earlier notes, Justin Tucker was painful to watch. I watched the replay or not relay, on delay. I watched the Ravens and Steelers, and it wasn't a perfect game, but I always like watching the Ravens and Steelers play because it's always a very physical game. But Justin Tucker, man, that was painful. Russell Wilson, to me, he had that pick in the end zone. I was at Washington, the tight end. I thought his tight end should have given a little more lift off the ground, but whatever. Russell Wilson's found magic waters, right? And if Russell Wilson's playing competently and playing well, and Najee Harris plays well, everyone stays healthy here, Steelers can make a run. My other aspect of this too is Ravens are vulnerable. They're 7-4 now, and everyone was putting them in the Super Bowl, right? They're always in the Super Bowl in October and November, and then everyone goes, what happened in January? And then what happens in January? They say, well, they got to get Lamar help, right? Isn't that what always happens? Coaches on the hot seat. We came in with 7 coaches on the hot seat this year. Saleh and Dennis Allen are gone. Where do you put? I put Doug Peterson ahead of Matt Eberflus right now. Eberflus got close, but Doug Peterson lost 52-6, right? Yeah. They need to make that move now. Jacksonville does. And Eberflus is going to be gone. He should be gone, although Chicago says he wasn't. McCarthy is going to be gone. We're going to see what tonight looks like. And then Gerard Mayo is going to stick around. As long as they play hard, they're going to stick with it. What's really important for the Patriots is that Alex Van Pelt, is that Drake May continues to develop, that Gerard Mayo is not so much of a Belichick clone and really allows other people to make choices and to bring in a receiver for them. If Jamar Chase went to New England with Drake May, that would be fire. That would be dangerous. All right, NFC playoff picture. Lions are 9-1, Eagles 8-2, Falcons are 6-5, Cardinals 6-4. We're on bye. Vikings are 8-2, Packers are 7-3, Texans are 7-4. That Bear loss dropped the Bears to 4-6, and the Seahawks victory over the 49ers. Geno did us a solid. Vaults the Rams at 5-5 to the 8th spot, just one team out. They're 2 games back, but one team back of being the last spot for the wild card, right? So if the Texans can take a plunge, that would really help. Rams don't play them, so if the Texans can take a plunge, the Rams can keep winning, then there might be a very slim wild card shot there. Also, another team to think about, Tampa Bay is 4-6, and I don't think they got a wild card shot. But boy, the Falcons are really doing a lot of stuff to keep the Buccaneers in this. And I think they're getting Mike Evans back. And so, yeah, the Buccaneers picked up some hope there during bye week. AFC playoffs, Chiefs are 9-1, Bills 9-2, Steelers 8-2, Texans right now 6-4, Ravens 7-4, Chargers 7-3, actually vault past the Ravens. Broncos are 6-5. Colts are 5-6. But with Cincy flailing, Cincy's 4-7, and all kinds of stuff going on there in Cincy. The Dolphins at 4-6 have passed them, and they're one game back of the Colts for the 8th seed, 2 games back of the Broncos for the 7th seed. Now the Broncos are playing well. We're going to see what their schedule looks like down the road here. But the Dolphins suddenly have life. I don't think they're great. Again, I think it was a fluke they beat the Rams, but they are alive. Rams remaining schedule. You got the Eagles this week. You got the Saints. Then you got the Bills, 49ers, Jets on the road, Cards, Seattle at SoFi. I'm going to get into the Rams-Eagles on Wednesday. Is there a path for the Rams to beat the Eagles? Absolutely, because the Eagles, if you've noticed it, they're Saquon dependent. It's all about the Saquon. You know, Rod Tidwell said, show me the Quan. The Eagles are saying, show me the Saquon. And if anything happens to Saquon, that Eagle team's going to collapse. And because right now, I like Jalen Hurts as a leader. I think he works hard. But, man, I don't trust him as a passer. And look at the kind of receivers he has. The Slim Reaper, A.J. Brown, good tight end. Yeah, they should be better. The Eagles should be better. All right, I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 21 years. Now I do RamView, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law and Temple City Auto, and, of course, Bench the app. And if you're tired of losing your fantasy games because you forgot to bench a non-starting player, make that a thing of the past. Bench the app is the only app that ensures you never leave a non-starting player in your lineup. Don't miss out on crucial points. Don't be the one who forgot to bench a player on game day. Win your league, keep your pride, talk some trash, and let Bench the app handle the rest. Download Bench the app today and dominate your fantasy season. All right. I do these things. I also write books. My books are on Amazon, and I appreciate your support there. Written 3 football novels, 2 about high school football. I wrote a football novel that came out early in the fall called Game Day in the RamCave. It has done well. Thank you for your support. But every time you buy that, it helps me because we don't hide behind a paywall, and we don't have a Patreon account, and we're so appreciative of our sponsors, especially at Kistler Law. But one of the things, if you go to Amazon, I wrote a short story recently called Briscoe. It's not about Marlon Briscoe. But what it is, it's a short story that I'd had for a while. I got it out, I got it published, and one of the things we're working on is to develop my pattern because our books have to go audio, and unless you guys want to send me a few $1,000 to hire somebody to do it for me, I got to do it myself. And so Briscoe's a short story, working class story. It's only about 20 pages, reads real fast. And but what I'm going to be doing probably before the week is out is I'm going to be putting out an audio version of that. And if that goes well, then I'm going to take another one of my stories and just work my way up and eventually get all my books done audio. So yeah, so I just want to let you guys know, appreciate your support for all of that. Let's see if any questions have rolled in. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see here. Tim Burns, I added the third loss being Frisco, but it's why I said at least 4-3. Frisco's in trouble. Frisco is in trouble. They can't go a game without missing somebody, right? Paul Richardson, thank you, Paul, for clicking on. 17-game season plays out like a story. You never know what will happen, what team will collapse, what team will make a late season run, injuries. Football is awesome. Unless it's a Nicholas Sparks novel, which my wife made me read once, then you know somebody's going to die at the end. Other than that, I fully agree with you, Mr. Richardson. Absolutely. Dano, the Cowboys are so bad, even the stadium is falling apart. I heard about that. Maybe the stadium vibe was thrown off when Netflix broadcast Mike Tyson's butt to 60 million people all across the world. I needed a tetanus shot for my eyes after I saw that. That was pretty bad. Manuel Vasquez, only one team from the West is going to make the playoffs. So the Rams are going to have to win the division outright. That's absolutely true. There's that narrow gap, that real narrow gap that if if the Taxkins go on a tailspin, right? If all the rookie and the newness and everything catches up with them, I mean, it's a long shot, and all of them start falling apart, there might be that slim spot in there. If the Rams can get to 10 wins, there might be that slim spot in there for a wild card berth. But no, absolutely. The number one avenue is the NFC West. Absolutely. Tim Burns, Goff had a 158.3, 4 times of over 140. Oh man, Mr. Burns, can I just, you and Jared Goff is like Steeler fan Rob and TJ Watt. Why don't you guys just double date for the prom? Send flowers to each other, pick yourselves up in the limo, and just go. I like Goff. I like TJ Watt, but yeah, put Goff behind, Jonah Jackson. Well, heck, great. He was behind Jonah Jackson. Goff's playing really well. He really is. Good for him. Tim Burns finished RamCave yesterday. Game day in the RamCave. Well done, sir. That Henstrati. Okay. Game day in the RamCave, recommended by Mr. Burns, available on Amazon in electronic Kindle as well as paperback soft cover. All right. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Bill is with us, and when you get a question there, Bill, you pile it in there and we'll go forward. I forgot to mention, I do the books, and I do this because I have a day job. I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene, and we have a channel right here on YouTube called Burbank Faith Virtual. And you can follow us at burbankfaithvirtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual Facebook, Burbank Faith Virtual across social media. Okay. Looking at the playoff picture for the college football, Colorado keeps winning, huh? I got Colorado my 9th team. Oregon 1, Texas 2, Ohio State 3, Penn State 4, Ole Miss 5, Indiana 6. I dropped Alabama 3 spots because they played Mercer. I know they beat Mercer 52-7, but it just upset me they played Mercer. Georgia 8 with that great win over Tennessee. I've dropped Tennessee. I actually got Tennessee in my top 15 now. I got them at 12. But I got Colorado at 9, Miami at 10, Notre Dame 11, Tennessee 12, Missouri 13, Clemson 14, and Army at 15. If the playoffs were to start today, Ohio State and BYU would play, and the winner of that would get Boise State. Penn State would play Ole Miss. The winner of that gets Miami. Indiana now would play Georgia, and the winner would get Texas. And I got to tell you, Indiana might have a path there. Notre Dame versus Alabama, the winner gets Oregon. Okay, the Rams signed a free agent cornerback to the practice squad today. His name's A.J. Green. Played 4 years with the Browns, 34 games, 2 starts, 2 picks in 4 seasons. He was an undrafted free agent out of Oklahoma State, 6'2", good size, not real fast, a 4'6" guy. But it's not that A.J. Green, the receiver A.J. Green. It's the cornerback A.J. Green. And that just leads you to where what are the Rams going to be doing? Because I think they need to get that corner. I think the corners to this point have been good enough. I think Drake May, because quick decision maker, I know I'm going to be taking heat for this. That's not Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts ain't going to exploit that. I don't think New Orleans will be able to have time to even do that against the Rams defense. And then Brock Purdy scares me against the Rams because he's one of those guys that gets the ball out of his hand. And then Aaron Rodgers, nope, I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not worried about Geno. But guys like Drake May, guys like Brock Purdy, these guys make me a little bit nervous, and you get those guys kind of matched up with our corners. Even if your defense is really good at bringing pressure, they get rid of the ball so quick. It's going to be a problem, and I don't know where the Rams are going to go. And I say this because I was happy with them. I'm okay with them even still, but didn't they look a little slow? They just looked a little slow, and I appreciate what Darius Williams is doing. They just looked a little slow, and the Rams just tells me they're going to need that big time corner next year, and I don't know where they're going to get it. If they're going to go into the draft, I don't know if there's any really tempting that you want to put money in next year at corner, and so that's going to be an issue. And if you know who didn't have a great secondary, can I just say who didn't have a great secondary? The '85 Bears. Yeah, you know Gary Fensick. Dave Durison wasn't the Dave Durison we came to know in '85. And then you got Leslie Frazier and who else, right, at corner. And it wasn't a great secondary. That front, that front seven was a nightmare. That's why they were so great. And I don't think the Rams could be that great, but they're going to need some help there in that secondary. They got draft capital. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Yeah. All right. Week 11, I'm 10-3. I got to double digits again, and I did pretty good this week. Packers beat the Bears in the Zeke Brokowski Bowl. Bears at home, enthused. I expected more from the Packers, though. Seeing them both, it just made me angry. The Rams lost to both of them. Jaguars at Lions, the James Stewart Bowl. Detroit blew them out. I think it would be good for Jacksonville to let Doug Peterson go now and start the search. Miami won the Hubert Ginn Bowl over the Raiders. Cincy's collapse opens the door for Miami. So what was so horrible then is kind of great now, kind of like what Paul Richardson said there about, it's like a novel. There's the ups, the downs, and we don't know how it's going to end. Miami's played itself into that spot. Rams, of course, we wanted more, but I'll take what I get. The Rams game reminded me of, I come from a short family. My mom was 5'7". My dad was 5'6". My brothers at most were 5'9". And when my dad married my mom, everyone said, oh, and she got pregnant. And everyone said, oh, poor Joe's going to be really short. Well, I'm the only one in the family. I'm 6'1". I'm the only one in the family that got tall. And I like to let them know that. And I used to complain saying, man, if I was 6'5", maybe I could have played junior college basketball or something. And my mom used to tell me, be thankful for what you got. And that was the Rams yesterday. I wanted more, but I'll take what I got because a W is a W, right? I took the Browns over the Saints in the Jubilee Dunbar Bowl, but it was the Saints, 35-14. Totally misread that one. I hope this is the Saints' last hurrah before they get to play the Rams in 2 weeks. Colts at Jets in the Jack Trudeau Bowl. Indy won 28-27. Yeah, I took the Jets. I thought for sure, they're not going to fall to 3-8. Aaron Rodgers, note to Aaron, retire now. Spend the last 2 months getting a goodbye tour because it's over, partner. Ravens and Steelers in the Rod Woodson Bowl. I took the Steelers. Justin Tucker helped a lot. Steelers won 18-16. And Pitt will go as far as Russell Wilson takes them. I do believe that. Vikings and Titans in the Warren Moon Bowl. Minnesota won. Vikes have rebounded nicely after dropping 2. Falcons at Broncos in the Dan Reeves Bowl. Denver 38-6. Bo Nix, man. Whoa. Broncos are coming. My fantasy team is appreciative because I got Cortland Sutton. But Atlanta is just absolutely allowing Tampa Bay to hang around when they could have sewn up this division. I didn't think they were going to win against the Broncos, but the loss to the Broncos after losing to the Saints, that was brutal. So, yeah, Raheem got to get it together. Seahawks and 49ers, now they're both 5-5, and the Rams are 5-5, but with victories over both teams. Seattle wins the Ricky Waters Bowl. God bless Geno Smith. George Kittle didn't play. Frisco's still dangerous, but they're falling apart, hanging by a thread. The last hurrah of the 49ers. Chiefs and Bills, Jeff Kinney Bowl, KC lost. Bills won. I took the Bills, and it doesn't mean anything until January, but I'm grateful that you get to see a guy like Josh Allen play. Happy for them, but they got to do it in January. And then last night, Bengals Chargers. I turned off the game for a few minutes in the James Brooks Bowl. And for a moment, it looked like the old Chargers had risen from the grave, like that scene at the end of Carrie where a hand reaches up. It's like, I'm Anthony Lynn. I'm going to pull you down here, right? I'm Brandon Staley. I'm going to pull you down. But Harbaugh beat them down. Any previous season, the Chargers would have lost that game. But Harbaugh has changed that culture. Now you get somebody like Jamar Chase over there in on the other side of SoFi, the Bolts are going to be dangerous. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Jamar Chase never signed, right? He's a free agent, I think. Please correct me. And then, of course, I got the Texans over the Cowboys tonight in the Dalton Schultz Bowl, provided Texas Stadium doesn't fall down, Jerry World doesn't fall down in total bad vibes of seeing Mike Tyson's keister. All right, there we go. Let's see, any questions? Will the Rams cut Jonah Jackson in the offseason? Too much money, man. Too much money. If they cut him before June 1st, it's 11 rocks against the cap. I think they're going to have to bite the bullet, hold on to him. And maybe, just maybe, it was all the injuries in August and then getting hurt when the season began. Maybe it was all of that created, that he made him not ready to play. Maybe if he just, takes a back seat this year and he comes back and challenges next year, that might be the thing for him because, yeah. But again, you can look at the negative, man, they whiffed on that one, but they're not letting that whiff define them. And we're saying, you know what, we screwed up, but we're not going to let it blow our season. And if we have to start Bo Limmer and become kind of a laughing stock, even McSnead, McVay himself, who probably said, oh yeah, let's get Jonah Jackson, and Snead, who said, oh yeah, let's give this guy $51 million. You don't want to look like an idiot, right? You don't want to look bad. And yet they said, hey, you know what? The 6th round pick is playing better. Let's look bad so the team can win. And that to me is great yesterday. I was so happy they won so we could talk about the win. But the fact that they made that choice as a Ram fan just thrilled me to no end. All right, let's keep rolling here. It was
a stone groove, my man.
Hey, anytime you win, it's a stone groove. But real quick, looking at Ram history, happy birthday today to former Ram linebacker Corey Littleton. Corey Littleton, you know how old Corey Littleton is? Now, Corey Littleton left the Rams after the 2019 season because they weren't going to give him that second contract. He went to the Raiders and poof, he disappeared. But boy, 2018 and 2019, Corey Littleton was pretty special for the Rams, right? You know how old Corey Littleton is? Corey Littleton is 32. That's all he is. He's 32. Happy birthday, Corey Littleton today, undrafted free agent out of the University of Washington. And today's the date of the Rams' previous last win in New England. They won in New England in 2001 on this date, Sunday Night Football. They beat the Patriots 24-17. There you go. And so that's the big news. As far as tomorrow, since we're not on the air, I want to mention Toby Wright. Toby Wright was a safety for the Rams last year in Los Angeles, and then for about 4 years there in St. Louis. And along with Keith Lyle, right, Todd Light, lent a little stability to some really bad teams. But the bummer for Toby Wright was he got hurt in 98, couldn't come back, came back, and the Rams ended up cutting him in June of 99. And of course, we know what happened in 1999. The Rams went to the Super Bowl. Toby Wright is kind of like the Rams version of Doug Plank. Now, he wasn't as good as Doug Plank, but does anyone remember Doug Plank? He was number 46, which the Bears defense was named after. Doug Plank was drafted out of Ohio State in about 75, 76, and you had Plank and Fensick keying the back porch there for the Bears for a number of years. And then Doug Plank got hurt after the 84 season, and he had to retire. And he missed that 85 championship run after going through all the, was it Armstrong was one of the head coaches. I forget his first name. I was going to say Neil Armstrong, and then Armstrong and everything that they had going on with the Bears. Survived the bad Bob Avellini years, survived all that stuff. Him and Fensick together, because Fensick was at from Yale, and they played forever. And then when they're about to collect that ring in 85, Plank career was over, and they still gave him a ring from what I understand. And that's what I remember about Toby Wright. I remember watching those games thinking, Toby Wright's not bad. He's not great. He had 6 interceptions that first year in St. Louis. And stuff. You didn't think he was bad, but he got hurt in 98 and missed the rest of that. So he only played 3 games, and then they cut him before the 99 season began. And it was just a bummer, right? You survive all that, and then you're gone. And I'll extrapolate what that's like. Don Sutton, talking about baseball real quick here. Just talking about baseball.
Stay in your lane, bro.
I know I'm staying in my lane. We're talking baseball real quick before I let you guys go. Don Sutton came up and was with the 66 Dodgers. That 66 Dodger team got whacked by the Baltimore Orioles in 4 games in 1966. So he didn't win a World Series ring. He didn't win a World Series ring in 74. They lost to the A's. He didn't win a World Series ring in 77 and 78. They lost to the Yankees. In 1980, his last season with the Dodgers, his last game, he comes in and pitches the game 162. He closes that game out to get the Dodgers into a one-game playoff against the Astros that the Astros won because Dave Gold started instead of Fernando. And so the next year he signs a free agent contract with Houston Astros. So he goes from the Astros to the Angels to the Brewers. He bounces around a little bit. He comes back to the Dodgers in 88. He's pitching for the Dodgers in 88. He's not doing real well because he's like 42 years old. And he gets cut in August of 88. And then he gets cut in 88. And then the Dodgers go on and win the World Series. I think my dog wants to say hi. I'm not letting the dog say hi. Very unprofessional. He's going to be a dead dog here in a few minutes. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, that's what I think of when I talk about Toby Wright. I just wanted to get that one out. And also just a reminder that tomorrow is the 6-year anniversary of the Rams beating the Chiefs 54-51 in Monday Night Football. RamCave was highly electric that night. I just wanted to get that out there. All right, let's see if we got any questions or anything else you guys got there. Goff for Trump's cabinet. Oh, boy. Pushing it, Mr. Burns. Dano, I hope Jonah Jackson is not our next note boom. Yeah, I think he is. I mean, at this point right now, aren't you're kind of happy with the offensive line. You want to get Havenstein back, but until Havenstein comes back, you're happy with McClendon. Now, the advantage is, I guess, you're not really paying Limmer or McClendon any money for a couple of years. You're not paying Avila really any big money for a couple of years. So that's kind of good news there. So you save some money there. You extend Alaric Jackson and everything. So maybe you kind of keep it all thing. And then, you're going to have to write a check to get rid of Noteboom. Noteboom is still owed $10 million because of all the restructures. And depending on how you want to handle it, you can cut him post June 1st next year. I looked at this on Over the Cap or Spot Track. You could cut him post June 1st, and he'd be a $5 million hit in 2025 and a $5 million hit in 2026. And that might be something they want to do. So there we go. Let's see here. Manuel Vasquez. Dano, thanks for asking that question. Manuel Vasquez. What do you think of J.C. Horn in Carolina? I was hoping the Rams would trade for him. He's had an injury history, but he's healthy now and can absolutely be a shutdown corner. He's playing well this year. Am I right, Manuel? He's playing well because, those first couple of years have been a wash. And I'd hate to see the Rams make a move for a guy that can't play, right? Like Marshawn Lattimore. And no, he's not bad. I'd rent him and then find out, can he play? Everyone's going to want out of Carolina. Carolina might take a 3rd-round pick for him because, they just got to rebuild everything. So I know when he came in, it was great. But yeah, when he came in, would have loved if the Rams could have got him then. But he didn't play for 2 years. Was it 2 years? It's like his 3rd year. And I know he's playing now. But, if he could stay healthy, that would be an interesting thing. Michael Negretti, the Rams need to look for a quarterback. What do you think, Pastor Joe? Well, I'd play quarterback, but my arm is shot. You're not asking me. Okay. They're going to need a quarterback. And I'm for drafting a quarterback in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round almost every year, just like a lineman. You just keep bringing him in. And, think how much gold the Patriots struck. And we're coming up to the 50-minute mark here, guys. Think how much gold the Patriots struck by bringing in guys, and they're playing with the Patriots, right? So you had all the weapons, you had the offensive line, you had the defense, and then you flip those guys, Garoppolo, Brissett, and others. Brian Hoyer, I don't think he got traded, but these guys, their value rises because of the team they're with. And then you pick off a 3rd round or a 4th round or a 2nd round pick for these guys. And so, and then, if it's somebody you think you could develop, absolutely. Just keep bringing them in. I have no problem with that. I think in this window, is Jimmy G a 1-year contract? I'll let somebody settle that for me, and I'll look for that by Wednesday. In this window right now, it's Matthew Stafford's world. He looks as healthy as he is right now. He's back next year, provided they work out contract details. And I don't care what they give Matthew Stafford, because every deal we've had with Matthew Stafford so far has been a bargain. Matthew Stafford's a $60 million quarterback. Whatever you see these guys getting, you give it to Joe Burrow, you give it to Herbert, You give it to Mahomes, you give it to Josh Allen, you give it to Lamar, even though he doesn't have the postseason success, and you give it to Matthew Stafford. Everyone else you don't give it to. So I don't know if they want to draft a guy and think they can develop him. I think the Stetson Bennett thing is just about over. I don't know. Make somebody come into camp and make Stetson beat him, and then go from there. But right now, unless there's an injury or some huge falling out, I don't see Stafford leaving at least for another year. I can see him here in 2025 for sure. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a nice insurance policy because I think Garoppolo's kind of at the end of his run, right? I don't think anyone's going to say, hey, give me Jimmy G, right? Unless he's out on the street. So, no, my issue right now, I'd want to reset at this point, if everything's all equal right now at the end of this season, I'd want to re-sign Bobby Brown. I think it's a necessity to re-sign Bobby Brown. Draft a Bobby Brown type in the next draft somewhere in there. And you got to get a cornerback. You got to get a corner, right? You're going to lose Atwell unless you re-sign him. D-Rob's getting older. He's going to be 30. He's going to be a free agent. I think Tyler Johnson's going to be a free agent. You got Jordan Whittington. So Whittington can slide in that third spot. You could draft another receiver there and then have some depth. And you got Xavier Smith, right? Be interested to see how he develops. So I don't know if you necessarily need a high-end receiver. If you get your hands on one, you do. But right now, you need a cornerback. And you need a cornerback that can just help out this defense just a little bit more. Can you imagine a corner that could give these pass rushers that extra half second to get to the quarterback, right? I mean, it'd be amazing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Michael Negretti, how about Sam Darnold for a backup until Stafford retires? I could see that, but I think Sam Darnold's playing himself to a point where he's going to be getting more money. Jimmy G's at the end of the line. He had a flame out, right, in Las Vegas. I'm not saying he was necessarily bad, but because when he was in Vegas, after the Vegas run, no one's going to put a dime into Jimmy G. He's too fragile. He's got a glass jaw, glass knees, glass shoulder, glass ankles. He's got glass everything. Sam Darnold is still healthy, and people are going to pay some moo for Sam Darnold. They're going to give up some dough for him. And so I'm not saying Sam Darnold's great or bad. If it came down to if you had to start Sam Darnold or Jimmy G, I haven't seen Jimmy G play in a Ram uniform, right? Sam Darnold's looked mortal again. I think no matter how much you try to push Sam Darnold over the top, I think he's mortal. And I think we've seen Jimmy G at least go to a Super Bowl. I don't think either one of those guys are the answer, though. There we go. All right, we went 52 minutes on a Monday night. You guys are watching football, and you're hanging with me. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm remiss. Maybe somebody could remind me when I come on the air Wednesday, say, Joe, mention your podcast on Spotify. My podcast on Spotify is From the RamCave. We're not making much of a mark there at all, guys. So if you're on Spotify, if you can start just clicking on or subscribe to our Spotify podcast, it's called From the RamCave. I would be very, very grateful. And anytime you guys, if you're new to us, please be sure to hit like and subscribe, hit share, leave comments. We thank you so much for your support and everything. And I'll give it 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. All right. A lot of fun being here, guys. It's a lot more fun after the Rams win. All right. God bless. Take care. We will talk to you on Wednesday.